Hi Year 5, hope you're all okay. I'm going to be carrying on reading Kensuke's Kingdom. We are on page 95. But I was trembling so much with excitement and exhaustion by now that I could not hold my hand still enough. So I set up a frame of twigs and laid the glass over it, just as I did before. Then I sat over it, willing the leaves to smoulder. Every time I looked up to see, the junk was still there, moving slowly away, but still there. It seemed an age, but there was a wisp of smoke, and shortly afterwards a glorious, wondrous glow of flame spreading along the edge of the one leaf. I bent over it to blow it into life. That was when I saw his feet. I looked up. The old man was standing over me, his eyes full of rage and hurt. He said not a word, but set about stamping out my embryo fire. He snatched up my fireglass and hurled it at the rock below, where it shattered to pieces. I could only look on and weep as he kicked away my precious pile of dry leaves, as he dismantled my beacon and hurled the sticks and branches one by one down the hill. As he did so, the group of orangutans gathered to watch. Soon nothing whatsoever now remained of my beacon. All about me, now the rocky scree was littered with the scattered ruins of it. I expected him to screech at me, but he didn't. He spoke very quietly, very deliberately. "Demeter," he said. "But why?" I cried. "I want to go home. There's a boat, can't you see? I just want to go home, that's all. Why won't you let me? Why?" He stood and stared at me. For a moment I thought I detected just a flicker of understanding. Then he bowed very stiffly from the waist and said, "Gomenesi, Gomenesi. Sorry, very sorry." And with that he left me there and went off back into the forest, followed by the orangutans. I sat there watching the junk until it was nothing but a spot on the horizon, until I could not bear to watch any more. By this time I had already decided how I could best defy him. I was so enraged that consequences didn't matter to me now, not any more. With Stella beside me, I headed along the beach, stopped by the boundary line in the sand, and then, very deliberately, I stepped over it. As I did so, I let him know precisely what I was doing. "Are you watching, old man?" I shouted. "Look, I've crossed over your silly line. And now I'm going to swim. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you don't feed me. You hear me, old man?" Then I turned and charged down the beach into the sea. I swam ferociously until I was completely exhausted and a long way from the shore. I trod water and thrashed the sea in my fury, making it boil and froth all around me. "It's my sea as much as yours," I cried, "and I'll swim in it when I like." I saw him then. He appeared suddenly at the edge of the forest. He was shouting something at me, waving his stick. That was the moment I felt it, a searing, stinging pain in the back of my neck. Then my back, and my arms too. A large, translucent white jellyfish was floating right beside me, its tentacles groping at me. I tried to swim away, but it came after me, hunting me. I was stung again, in my foot this time. The agony was immediate and excruciating. It permeated my entire body like one continuous electric shock. I felt my muscles going rigid. I kicked for the shore, but I could not do it. My legs seemed paralysed, my arms too. I was sinking, and there was nothing I could do about it. I saw the jellyfish poised for the kill above me now. I screamed, and my mouth filled with water. I was choking. I was going to die. I was going to drown, but I did not care. I just wanted the pain to stop. Death, I knew, would stop it. Chapter 7. All that silence said. I smelt vinegar, and I thought I was at home. My father always bought us back fish and chips for supper on Fridays, and he loved to soak his in vinegar. The whole house would stink of it all evening. I opened my eyes, and it was dark enough to be evening, but I was not at home. I was in a cave, but not my cave. I could smell smoke too. I was lying on a sleeping mat covered in a sheet up to my chin. I tried to sit up to look about me, but I could not move. I tried to turn my neck. I couldn't. I could move nothing except my eyes. I could feel, though, my skin, my whole body throbbed with searing pain, as if I had been scalded all over. I tried to call out, but could barely manage a whisper. Then I remembered the jellyfish. I remembered it all. The old man was bending over me, his hand soothing on my forehead. "Better now," he said. "My name Kensuke. You better now." I wanted to ask after Stella. She answered for herself by sticking a cold nose in my ear. I do not know how many days I lay there, drifting in and out of sleep, only that whenever I woke, Kensuke was always sitting beside me. He rarely spoke, and I could not speak, but the silence between us said more than any words. My erstwhile enemy, my captor, had become my saviour. He would lift me to pour fruit juice or warm soup down my throat. He would sponge me down with cooling water, and when the pain was so bad that I cried out, he would hold me and sing me softly back to sleep. It was strange. When he sang to me, it was like an echo from the past, of my father's voice perhaps, I didn't know. Slowly the pain left me. Tenderly, he nursed me back to life. The day my fingers first moved was the very first time I ever saw him smile. When at last I was able to turn my neck, I would watch him as he came and went. As he busied himself about the cave, Stella would often come and lie beside me, her eyes following him too. Every day now I was able to see more of where I was. In comparison with my cave, down by the beach, this place was vast, apart from the roof of vaulted rock above. You would scarcely have known it was a cave. There was nothing rudimentary about it at all. It looked more like an open plan house than a cave. Kitchen, sitting room, studio, bedroom, all in one space. He cooked over a small fire, which smoked continuously at the back of the cave, the smoke rising through a small cleft high in the rocks above. A possible reason, I thought, why there were no mosquitoes to bother me. There always seemed to be something hanging from a wooden tripod over the fire, either a blackened pot or what looked like and smelled like long strips of smoked fish. That's where I've got up to, and Mrs. Thorpe will be reading on from me. Hope you all have a lovely day, and fingers crossed I will see you all soon. Bye.